Welcome back to Kearsarge Valley Magazine, and I'm Lynn Solomon here with a very fun craft segment for you to do with your family. School's almost out, or it is out at this point, and the kids will be here and you'll be needing things to do. So here's a fun project that combines oil and water. You've heard oil and water doesn't mix. Well, you can use those two very nicely to make some nice effects with watercolor and oil pastels or crayons. So in order to do this project, my capable assistants, Brooke and Rhett, are working on their drawings. Brooke is using oil pastels to just get a drawing down. Can you hold that up there, cutie? There you go. So she's getting a drawing down on a piece of watercolor paper. This is an oil pastel, which is also sometimes called a craypas, and it's a real waxy, oily crayon. It's a little bit better for older children. You can do this project very well with younger kids as well, just by using simple Crayola crayons, because they've got that same waxy substance that's going to kind of get rid of the watercolor and make it go away, which will be our second step. So Rhett is working on a crayon picture. So those look good, girls. So you've done step one. Step two is going to be the water part of the step, which is going to involve watercolors. If you have watercolors at home, or you can run to the craft store and get some, I recommend the artist grade watercolors. They come much stronger pigments than a watercolor set like this, which you can find in most anywhere. This will do in a pinch if you're stuck home with the kids and you need something to do. A watercolor set like this will suffice, but the artist grade watercolors really will come up with a more dramatic effect. So what I'm going to do is squeeze a little bit into these little egg cups. When you buy those eggs and they come in the plastic containers, save the containers. They're great watercolor pans. So what color do you want to do for your background, Brooke?
Can I have blue and red?
A little bit of blue and red. So you just need a very, very small drop. That'll do. That's even a lot. You don't even probably need that much because these colors are so concentrated. So that's the red, and here's the blue. And then Brooke's going to take one of these very large brushes, and she'll be painting the background. You can take just a very, very large brush, something like this. You're going to dip it into the water and really loosen up that watercolor pot right there. So get that nice and loose. Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to help your sister. Oh, I'm glad you chose to do the white. One of the nicest things about this effect is that you can use white crayon and get a really nice effect. Rhett's got some on her drawing, so we'll show you when she's finished. Are you finished with your drawing?
Yeah.
Okay. What colors do you want to do for your background? How about some green? Want to do some green for the grass? Okay. And then do you want to do like a blue sky?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's your green, a little spot of that. You want this big brush?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. All right, so there's your green, and here's your blue down here. So red is also going to loosen up the paint there with a lot of water. Watercolor needs a lot of water, so don't let that sit in the pan and look like a little blob. You want it to be nice and juicy, just like how Brookie has done hers. Get it nice and loose in there. So once you loosen up your watercolors, you're just going to paint your background. As I did on this butterfly one, I didn't even use realistic colors. I just used fantasy colors for the background, and you can see that the craypas is repelling the water, and even the white is showing up. Had I not painted this paper, you would not have been able to see the white, but the paint really makes the white come out. So Rhett's got some of that on hers. So, okay.
Thanks, Lynn. After these messages, I'll talk to Fred Colemanen and Whitey Jocelyn of the Mountainside Racket and Fitness Center. But first, let's go back to Lynn and her daughters and see the finished product.
We're about to see what our oil and water project ended up looking like by our two lovely assistants. We're going to start with Brooks first. She chose to do a flower, and you can see that she did a fantasy background similar to my butterfly, where she just picked a couple different colors. And you can see that the blue and the red are kind of running together, making a nice purple. So you want to lay this flat to dry. As you can still see, it still has a couple beads of the watercolor. But the oil pastel comes right through. You can see it's actually repelling a lot of the water right there. So that will look beautiful when it dries. And now Rhett, who worked with the crayons, this is hers. And remember how we talked about the clouds being in the white? You can see that the clouds are there, and look how striking the sun is. The sun really comes through because it's yellow. So she's got her horses standing there on the field. Good job, girls. This is a great project you can do with any age group. You can get the little toddlers in the high chairs scribbling with crayons, that'll work, and you can get the advanced artists working with the oil pastels, and you always come out with a good effect.